What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 46 of My Social Life. This is the podcast where you can hear the real stories behind the people on social media. I'm your host, Jacob Kelly, and before we jump into today's conversation with Rainey DeSiervo, there's a couple things that we need to go over first. Number one, if you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving a rating and a review. The more positive ratings and reviews you get, the more likely that the podcast apps are going to look positively upon this podcast, have it picked up in the algorithms, and help new people find this show. And it really helps to grow the community that we're developing here. And if you're one of those people that have recently found the podcast, welcome. I'm very excited to have you here. Make sure you subscribe, stay tuned for future episodes. And to everybody listening, make sure you screenshot this, post it to your Instagram story, tag @MySocialPod, and I'll feature you on the account and send you a message as well. Now, without further ado, let's get to my conversation with Rainey DeSiervo. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to My Social Life. Today, we're joined by Rainey DeSiervo. And Rainey is the community relations lead for Grovemade, and she runs their Instagram, which is a very, very clean aesthetic. And I'm very excited to have her here today to learn about how she started working for Grovemade, what goes into putting that Instagram together, and a couple different trends in the social media space. Rainey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
So I want to go to what Grovemade is, just for anybody that doesn't know what that company does.
Yeah, so we're a we're a design and manufacturing company in Portland, Oregon. We're pretty small. I think right now about 15 people. We do most everything in-house. So that includes design, photography, marketing, and manufacturing in-house in our one little warehouse in Portland, Oregon.
That's awesome. And I've seen the products at Grovemade kind of described as very minimal. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I feel like minimalism is like a super hot topic right now. So is that something that you're kind of interested in, or anybody in the company's into?
Somewhat. I mean, we don't really describe ourselves well. Yeah, it kind of comes out that we are a minimalist sort of company, but that's not exactly like strictly our aesthetic.
Okay, that's fair. But I kind of want to take things back a little bit. And you went to school at Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, University of Oregon.
So what did you study when you went to school?
I double majored in linguistics and Spanish.
Okay,
So
so
sort of took a leap from there.
yeah, so I'm assuming then there wasn't much like social media stuff that you did at school back then, right?
Not really. I don't even think I had an Instagram account back then. It was just, yeah.
So when you were going to school, then what were kind of like your almost like your career aspirations at the time?
I was thinking I wanted to go into lean into linguistics and be a speech language pathologist. But that didn't really work out.
That's fair. But so I was going to ask, with that in mind, do you think that school is worth it when it comes to social media? Obviously school is worth it when it comes to certain things, but in the world of social, do you think it's necessary?
I really don't. I think it's social media is a world made up of a lot of really scrappy people and people who don't really need it. Would be weird to have a formal education around, influencers and social media marketing and all of this thing. I think it's also something that changes so quickly that to have a curriculum based around social media would just be sort of obsolete by the time it hit the classrooms. But yeah, it's a lot of just things that you pick up along the way.
I think you hit it right on the head there when you said that it changes so quickly. It just takes Instagram to update their algorithm one time, and then your entire curriculum is screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wanted to ask, what did you do between your time then at school and Grovemade? How did you kind of get into the social media world? Oh,
God, there have been a lot of random paths that I've taken. I worked for a nonprofit right out of school. I worked for an athletic club. I worked actually for SurveyMonkey, which is have you heard of that?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so yeah, I worked there for a little bit, got into the tech world. And then I did a little foray in grad school, and then I ended up just back in Portland looking for a job, and I found a posting on Craigslist for this job at Grovemade. And I came in and interviewed for it, and it was originally supposed to just be more customer service based, and then it's sort of grown over the past 2 years into a lot more social media.
So for the most part then is a majority of your experience in social at Grovemade?
Yes.
Yeah. When I was doing some Googling, I saw your name come up for different freelance things. Was that you or was that another Rainey?
I'm not sure. It might have been a different Rainey, but there aren't too many of us out there.
Yeah, I was just curious. Like, I Googled your exact name. There's a couple like profiles that came up for freelance. I was going to ask if you did any of that, but if you didn't, then we'll just kind of skip over that.
That's something I'm trying to get into, but I don't have any experience right now.
When you say you're trying to get into it, like in a social media aspect?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like doing some social media for friends, business accounts, and just trying to expand my portfolio.
Okay. So did you know about Grovemade before you started working for them?
I didn't, which is sort of a strange thing, but I'm so happy that I stumbled upon or across this company.
Yeah. So you said when you started that, like you were originally more for like community relations and stuff like that. So
Yep.
how did social media kind of work its way into your day to day?
Well, so when I first started, my job was just to post. I think I was posting back then 7 days a week on Instagram. So it was just like the task was, okay, pick a photo, pick a caption, post it, and then, handle the DMs and maybe post a story every once in a while. So it sort of started slowly. There wasn't much thought behind it. And then from there, I sort of got more and more into it and more into like how a whole feed fits together. Like I sometimes call it like the quilt of your photos. So I started thinking about that, like how one photo will look next to another photo when you're looking at, the whole feed. So I wanted to get more intentional about planning out the photos we would post and then mixing it up with different mediums of like photos and videos and maybe like a GIF or something. So from there, I just sort of like got more into being super intentional about everything. And then that from there, we sort of wanted to take on like a greater role, or not a greater role. We wanted to step up our Instagram stories. And that's been probably the most fun part about my job, is creating all of these like weird and funny Instagram stories.
Okay. What do you usually what do you usually put on the Instagram story then? Like what do you mean by weird and funny?
Well, it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and we have some pretty goofy people here. I mean, it's a really fun place to work, and so I really enjoy like capturing those moments. So it's a lot of just like super candid conversations with the team. And everyone's generally in like good spirits here. Everyone likes to laugh here. So it's been fun to tell that part of the story of Grovemade to our followers.
And so when you're doing like the stories, are you producing like with a full on camera and then uploading it to Instagram, or are you just doing it all directly from your phone?
It's actually, yeah, it's a little bit convoluted right now. So I use, we have an iPhone XS or 10s Max, whatever that's called. So it's just iPhone, shooting video on iPhone, and then I upload that to my computer. I actually, right now, I'm just using iMovie to edit. Yeah, it's pretty, what's the word? Low tech.
Yeah.
But so I do all the editing there and then post it after I'm done editing on iMovie.
Okay, but I think like low tech is okay, because from everything that I'm seeing, Instagram stories is almost like the audience prefers a low tech look, like it was taken from a phone as opposed to something highly produced. So
yeah,
I think
totally.
It works out in the end.
I think it kind of gives it more of like a raw, like gritty feel, which is what I like about Instagram stories, is that they're not polished. I don't think that they should be polished. It should be a more candid take on whatever you're showing.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to jump back a little bit to where you were talking about how you were replying to DMs and stuff. How important is it trying to reply to all the incoming requests and questions that you get online?
It's super important. I mean, I think that I try to do like a 24-hour turnaround time. I really try to have like a good break from social media in my personal life. So when I'm outside of work, I don't check it. So I try to respond within a day. I usually don't get back to people on the weekends, but it is super important to keep on top of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of like what are some of like the regular questions that you get on a regular basis?
Oh, let's see. One of the most common questions is, where can I buy your product? Because we're direct to consumer only, and you can only purchase the products directly from our website. So people, especially like international customers, want to know where to purchase. So that's sort of a point of contention, because shipping internationally is expensive and sometimes cost prohibitive. And then on top of that, there are like import fees. So it really gets to be expensive. So that's a pretty common question I get from customers or fans. Another one that I get all the time is, where can I buy your desk? Everyone loves the desk that's shown in all of our photos. So we are working on one. It's a little bit delayed. We don't know when it's coming out, but the desk that's shown in all of our photos was custom made by our CEO specifically for our photo shoots. So
Okay, that's kind of cool though. That like that custom desk. So are they making a desk that's pretty much the exact same one, or just one similar?
Well, we're not quite sure yet. The design is on hold for now, but it'll probably be something similar to what is shown in our photos.
Okay. And then, so do you ever get any like flack or anything like just with the price of the premium product? Because from my understanding, like just looking around the website and stuff, like Grovemade is a premium product.
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever get any flack for pricing or anything like that?
Sometimes, but it's really not very frequent. I think people understand that for a quality product, you have to pay a little bit of a higher price point, or it's going to be at a higher price point.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. So do you ever have to do any offline community relations, or are you just strictly social media?
It's strictly social media.
Okay. So like, what does your average day look like then? Like, are you doing anything non-social related while you're in the office? Like, what's your day-to-day look like?
Yeah. So my time is split between like social media, marketing, and then also customer service. So that includes like I check for fraud in the mornings, I answer emails. I'm helping out to make sure orders are going out on time. We actually do have in-person sales. People can come to our shop and purchase directly from us. So we have those people come in, and I am usually the person to help them out. And then they always get a tour. So if anyone wants to come to Grovemade, you'll get a tour of the shop. And then I'll go over to social media and check all of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest to make sure everything's up to date. And then I'll go over to marketing and do some marketing work.
Okay, so like when you say marketing work, like what do you usually do that in that regard?
So I guess I'm more of an associate level, so I assist our marketing manager. Actually right now, so what we're working on is a customer discovery project. So we're trying to figure out how we can reach new customers, and we're doing that by talking to our current customers and trying to figure out, like, create a profile of who is the core Grovemade customer. So we just wrapped up doing some interviews with customers. So I was helping out, like, find the people that wanted to talk to us. Actually, not us. They were talking to Ken, our CEO, directly. So I did the sort of logistics and scouting people, and then we had to like transcribe all of the, or not transcribe. Yeah, we had to like transcribe their phone call to like put everything into a database and figure out, okay, like who are these people? Where do they come from? Where do they work? What do they want from us? Just to help us with future marketing efforts.
Mm-hmm. So like with the marketing efforts themselves, is it primarily online and digital, or do some like offline and traditional stuff as well?
I guess it is primarily online, but we are doing actually we're going to be doing some in-person. I don't know if you've seen on our website, we do have older like customer journey or customer discovery journal entries where Ken actually went out and he interviewed the customers first. And then he went to their homes and interviewed them and took photos and just spent the day with them to learn about who our customers are. So it is like, it's in person, it's super intimate. And we got some really cool content from doing that. That was, I think, 2016. That was before I started, but that's what this customer discovery project is currently. We're like revamping that and trying to do that again. So we're going to be going to a couple customers' houses probably sometime this summer to do like an in-person interview.
That's really interesting. And like one, you're just going to learn so much about where you can find these new customers, but also by doing this, I'm assuming the current customers that you're talking to are just going to develop an even stronger connection to the brand. So they're probably going to even promote you guys further now because they feel so much more attached and intertwined with the company.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's so fun to work at a company this size because we have the ability to do this. You know, if we were any bigger, I don't think that any CEO would have the time to go and talk one-on-one with their customers to learn, who our fans are.
Mm-hmm. But I do want to kind of switch back over to that Instagram feed, because when I first sent you the DM to the account, it was the Instagram feed, like just the look of it that really caught my eye.
Yeah.
So how would you kind of describe the aesthetic or the look and feel of your Instagram?
Well, everything, so on the feed, everything's super sleek and clean. We have an in-house photographer who's excellent. So I get assets from him. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
That's fair. It's like, how important is it then to maintain that look and feel, the quilt as you kind of described it?
Oh, totally. That's super important. So we have, our regular posts. We want to keep that aesthetic. We want to keep everything looking super sleek and clean and polished. And then like the Instagram stories is the place for us to be sort of more like raw and candid.
Mm-hmm. So when you say the photographer takes the photos, like, are you just basically using whatever he gives you for the feed, or do you kind of ask for specific product shots or anything like that? Or how does that usually work?
Yeah. So, I guess, okay. So we just launched the headphone stand. So I had to ask our photographer for a few specific assets, because what we did this time, which was new for us, we really coordinated all of our efforts all together. So we did like a sneak peek Instagram story, which we promoted via email. And then we did the launch happened. And then after that, we did, let's see. We had a little Instagram story to just like keep engagement up, keep people like amped up about it. And now we're doing a giveaway. So I had to coordinate with our photographer, Max, to get some specific assets for those different stages of this whole headphone stand launch.
Okay. So with that, like with the headphone stand launch in mind, do you have a content plan that you kind of follow, or is it just kind of as things come up, then you develop a plan?
Well, to be honest, it's up until this point, it's sort of been like fly by the seat of our pants. We sort of like make stuff up as we go along, but we really wanted to be super intentional for this launch. So this one was actually pretty well thought out, and we've seen a pretty great return on our efforts, which has been really fun.
That's actually perfect, because that was my next question, was whether you saw those returns or not. So I'm assuming then that this is something that you're probably going to implement for majority of your product launches going forward.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we have another product launch coming up next month, and it's going to be an even more like concerted together effort to try and promote this product.
Okay, so how often are you getting the photos from your photographer then? Is it just like pretty much like you said, flying by the seat of your pants, or just kind of as things come up, or does he kind of batch shoot content and you can schedule it out?
It's batched. So he'll do like a whole photo shoot for a new product launch. So we just had the headphone stand. So he did a whole bunch of photos of different desk setups. So we have walnut and maple available for all of our products. So we did a walnut desk setup shoot with the headphone stand, and then a maple desk setup shoot.
I did notice too, though, that there's not much video content other than your stories. Is that primarily the only place you guys post is the videos, is in the Instagram story?
No, we do want to get more into videos, or I mean, I personally would like to. We actually did just do a really quick video for this headphone stand giveaway that we're doing. So that was posted on Monday. We shot that Wednesday of last week. We shot it, and then our photographer edited the whole thing, so it was complete. We just did this whole thing in one day. It's a 24-second video, but it's super fun. But that sort of, with that video, we sort of realized like, oh, we actually do have the ability to make videos like this that are pretty high quality. So I think we have more of those in the future.
And then just kind of like with a quick analysis of posting that video, did fans respond well to it? Like, is it like, did they like the video?
Yeah, it's done pretty well. Like,
it's good.
Better than the other videos that we've posted before. So it's actually funny because there's a very clear difference between the types of photos that I post. So if we do anything related to behind the scenes or about the team, or look at John using the chop saw to cut some of this walnut material, that stuff doesn't actually do very well. There's not high engagement. What does really well are our desk setup photos. But we have, despite the discrepancy in engagement, we still want to post and tell our whole story. So that includes talking about the other product lines that we have. That includes talking about the building that we just bought. It includes talking about all of the amazing people that work here. So it's really, we try to stay pretty authentic and true to our brand in the whole posting. Oh, in the whole, what am I trying to say? In the feed in our quilt.
Mm-hmm. And then so like, well, why is that? Why do you guys want to continue pushing the story of the company? Like, why is that important to you?
It's part of the brand. It's the reason that we're all here. Like, we wouldn't be who we are without the people that work here.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. I was just curious because that's kind of like the note I was looking on, is because I feel like they might not like the photos as much more, but they're going to connect better on a deeper level with a human than just with the desk, right? So I agree with the strategy that you guys are using, but in terms of like engagement and like things performing better than not, is there a time of day that you've noticed that works really well, or a specific day of the week that you try to aim for?
Honestly, no, I don't really get that into it. I've tested things out, and those types of minimal changes they don't have a huge impact for us. Like, if I post at 9 a.m. versus 12:30 in the afternoon, it doesn't really make a huge difference.
Okay. And then like, so how often are you uploading then? Is it still daily, 7 days a week, or every couple days?
No, we went from posting 7 days a week to 4. And that was actually, like, on a personal level, that was a pretty huge change, to not have to log on to Instagram 7 days a week and deal with that. So personally, that was great. But we really haven't noticed a huge change in engagement from going from 7 days a week to 4 days a week.
Okay, that's interesting. That's awesome though that's worked. I mean, this probably frees up some time for you as well during the week.
Yeah.
I was curious about other socials. You kind of mentioned things earlier when you'll jump on in the morning and go through all the social channels. So your Facebook account's currently at like 58,000 followers, I think. So is that a big part of your digital strategy as well?
It's not. Most of the efforts are focused on Instagram. That's where we found most engagement, most return on effort. So that's sort of where most of my attention lies.
Okay. So would you say you post less on your Facebook then, and you kind of going all in on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. So is that kind of why you stopped, why the company stopped using Twitter as well?
Yeah, there wasn't much going on Twitter for us, and it just doesn't seem like the right fit for the like what we post about. So we don't
That's fair.
use it that much.
But you still check it on a semi-regular basis to see if there's any messages or anything coming in?
Yeah.
Okay. And like, do people still, even despite the fact that you have that pinned tweet at the top of the account saying you don't really monitor anymore, do you still get a fair amount of DMs coming in?
Oh, for sure. I'm actually surprised that you saw that, because most people seem to not notice that, and they still contact us on Twitter.
I mean, I try to be kind of thorough when I do my research, so I pay attention a little bit. But I also noticed is that you have a Pinterest account as well. Do you do much work on that? Like, I thought that was super interesting because I don't see too many companies with a Pinterest.
Yeah, that's sort of like a dormant platform for us. I'll just go on there and upload new photos when we have a new product launch. But honestly, other than that, it just sort of lays there. But we get pretty good engagement on that. Like, people seem to find us. It's through Pinterest.
That's cool. I feel like too, because just with like the minimal look of the products and stuff, like, I don't know if this is the right word, but it's almost like the photos and stuff are very Pinteresty. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why like it really resonates well. Like, just the photos and the style of both the photos and the product are very much Pinterest. So maybe that's kind of like was my thought process when I saw you guys on Pinterest. Mm-hmm. But I was curious about other digital, and like you mentioned with when you really kind of thought through the full launch of the most recent product, are you responsible for the website as well?
No, I'm not. That's actually the CEO's younger brother does our website, and he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So what about email? You mentioned you respond to emails when you come in most days. Is that just like the info email?
That's just the customer support email.
Okay. And are you do you do any email marketing? Like, do you have a database or an email list or anything that you send emails out to?
Yeah, we do. So, excuse me, I'm not so much on the email marketing side. That's our marketing manager who handles all of that. So I can't really speak to that too much.
That's fair. And then just another other aspect of digital I was curious about when it comes to social was like digital ads. Like, are you running any Facebook ads or Instagram ads or anything?
Yeah, so that's sort of where we're kind of a weird company. We don't. We've tried it in the past. We haven't seen, well, for us right now, like we don't think it's the right decision because we didn't see much return on investment on those. We actually, our Instagram account isn't even a business account; it's just a personal one because we've actually gone back and forth a bunch of times over, oh, do we switch? Do we keep it the same? But we're paranoid about the algorithm getting to us and for our posts to be lost. So
Mhm.
we've just kept a personal account this whole time, and we don't run any ads on Instagram.
That's really interesting. So when you say like scared of the algorithm, then have you kind of noticed that like business accounts will get less of a reach within the Instagram algorithm?
Yeah, that's the word on the street.
No,
Oh my God.
I've definitely, I've definitely heard that before. And I was going to ask why you didn't have the business account and also have the ability to purchase directly off of your Instagram, but I guess that would be why.
Well,
But
so it's
sure, go
also
ahead.
we view Instagram as more of a discovery platform. There, in terms of conversions, it's super low. So even if we did have the ability, a business account and had the ability for people to purchase directly from Instagram, it we don't think that it would really work out that well for us because conversions are super super low for all social media platforms.
That's really interesting to hear because I feel like companies like sometimes they don't necessarily have a strategy behind their social media. So they go, social media is important, let's post on it. But it's cool to know that you use social media with a specific intention as a discovery platform and not just kind of like a one size fits all strategy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's been a bunch of trial and error. Like, let's do this new thing, see if it works. If it does, great, we'll keep doing that. If not, then, well, we'll change our strategy.
And I mean, I think that's the way to do it. But do you have any like tips that you can share with businesses for how they can kind of grow their Instagram?
I think doing small things like giveaways, things where you really want people to engage with you, that creates a lot of hype. So that has worked out well for us in the past, and that's currently what we're running. We've seen pretty good return on that. Yeah, I'm not sure. We actually got pretty lucky. I think there's this legend that from before I got here that we got lucky on Instagram and got on like the Instagram actual, like at Instagram account a couple of times. So our follower count just like shot up. So I don't have tips on how to exponentially grow followers.
That's fair. So that was before you were working in it. The company got featured by Instagram.
Yeah, we are actually featured by it's just at design. So that's the Instagram design account, and they featured us recently. So that helped with a little bit of a bump in followers. But yeah, I mean, honestly, because it's just a discovery platform for us and we don't take it too seriously, we're not super invested in the number of followers that we have.
That's pretty interesting. I mean, you're closing in on 100,000 though, so that'll be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to get there just on a personal level, just to see that 100K.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it grows slowly, and we're okay with that.
That's fair. Is it when like since you kind of learned as you've gone through the process on social media, are there any resources or anything that you've used along the way?
No, we're a pretty scrappy company, so we sort of take that same attitude to social media. Like we try something and we're okay with failing. So it's just been really a lot of trial and error.
I mean, that's fair. I feel like that's the case with a lot of people when it comes to social media. Is they're like they just kind of learn as they go. But I was curious if there's any companies that you've seen that have kind of stood out to you from a social media perspective. You're like, well, that's really cool. Like anything that's kind of caught your eye.
Yeah, the team here really likes Chubbies. Have you ever seen their account?
That sounds familiar, but I can't quite. Is it a food account?
No, they're they started with just like men's shorts, but they're so funny. They're just super goofy and they stay on brand and they're irreverent and every post is just like on point. So they're one that definitely stands out to us. And then I really like Topo Designs out of Denver. They've
Okay.
got I mean they're like a lifestyle brand, so they have a lot of really amazing. They're mostly like travel shots, but they're all super well done. They do a lot of giveaways. They've got really good engagement. Yeah, that's a good one.
Cool. I'll definitely have to check both of those ones out. But I was curious about your social media because when I was doing some Googling and stuff, like you didn't really come up at all. So do you use social media personally on a regular basis?
I don't. I've had an account, a personal account, for about 6 years, and I recently took like a 4 month break from it just because being on it all day at work just sort of drained me, and sort of I didn't want to spend more time on Instagram. So yeah, I think I reactivated it like last week. But yeah, I don't, on a personal level, I don't really use social media.
That's kind of cool. Just like, because I don't know many social media managers and people in your position that don't have an Instagram or much, to be honest. Like the only social account, like even Googling it, like you don't really come up, which is kind of cool. Would there ever be a thought to kind of start producing content around different things? I know you mentioned you might be getting into like the freelance space. So would there ever be a thought to produce your own content around social media and things that and things that you do at work?
Totally. Yeah, that's upcoming. That's like a project that I'm working on currently. I'll have to create like a new Instagram account specifically for, like my portfolio, or, my own professional account. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, what really goes into a social media portfolio? I was actually on Twitter the other day and I saw some people debating it. It's like, what would you kind of include in yours?
So yeah, I guess it's mostly like for content creators. That's sort of the space that I pay attention to. So it's a lot of photography, videography, just like showing your skills. I'm not sure. I don't know what was the debate that you were listening to?
It was like a debate between a couple different, it was people within the social media space. And it's like, what would you include if you were to make a portfolio? Like, should you even make a portfolio? Should you kind of like come with case studies? This was like in the freelance space. Like, cause if you're not necessarily like within this case, like they weren't taking the photos of the videos. They're like, do we put like those posts in our portfolio, but we weren't responsible for the creative? Like it was just a debate on how that works, like what the nuance is between, you're not a creator, so can you put that in your portfolio, and what should you really put in it?
Oh, interesting. I don't have much insight about that, but I feel like if you are a content creator, then yeah, you should have an account that shows your work, because you're creating a personal brand. So why not put that out there and show everyone what you can do?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So when it comes to like you building your own personal brand, when you really start to do that, are you like, what approach are you going to take? Because obviously it's going to be a little bit different from marketing Grovemade as a product company as opposed to marketing your personal brand.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not sure an answer for you.
That's
Uh,
okay.
yeah, I haven't. I'm sort of like just about to step out into that space, so I don't have I don't have a great answer for you. I wish that I did.
That's okay. Maybe we'll have to do a follow up in like a year and kind of see how that journey has gone from trying to launch your own personal brand.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be better.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I was curious about some like current trends and different things within the state of social media that I wanted to kind of pick your brain on.
Hmm.
Do you think as a whole, like society spends too much time on social media? I know like you've kind of noticed that within yourself and you stopped using social kind of outside of work. Do you think people use the platforms too much?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's addicting, and it's designed to be addicting.
So like, would you say social media then is like almost like not necessarily bad for us, but like we really need to kind of monitor what we consume when we're on social?
Yeah, I think that we just need to be more aware of the time and attention that we put on social, because it seems like there's an imbalance between, caring how many likes you get on a post versus, like I just went on a camping trip this weekend, and I was conflicted about posting a picture on my personal account about it. Like, okay, do I really care what people think? Do I care that people know that I went on a camping trip, or would I rather just have that memory, just on a personal level? Do I want to share that with people, or can I just enjoy my life without sort of, I almost see it as like bragging.
Okay.
And I like to be more private about things, but I know that that's not what everyone thinks.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like a lot of people try to use social media as like a PR version of their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good way to put it.
But you mentioned there you mentioned likes there for a minute, and I was curious about what you thought about Instagram removing likes, because they're actually testing that up here in Canada right now, where you can't see the likes of anybody else on the platform. If you like go into your own account, you can see how many likes you're getting, but I can't see what anybody else is getting. Do you think that would be like a positive shift if Instagram took that platform? Why do you think that'd be a little bit too far?
Oh, you do?
Yeah, like I currently don't have likes. Like I can't see anybody's likes right now.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's super interesting. I actually think that that would be kind of a plus. Um, well, are you talking about for a professional or a personal account though?
Like it's like within Canada, it's pretty much platform wide. Like I can't see, like, no, I can't see anybody, whether it be for, like, I have a business account
Uh-huh.
and I can't see likes, and like my girlfriend has just a regular account, a personal account, and she can't see likes either. So it's like nobody can see likes at all. So it's just like kind of as like a holistic shift from Instagram.
Oh, that's super interesting. I actually like when I scope out influencers or other like companies that we'd maybe want to do a co-marketing campaign with. That's actually how we scope them out. Is we look at engagement, we look at the number of likes and like the average number of likes and the average number of comments on their photos, just to know that okay, does this account that has 50,000 followers, are 30,000 of them bots? You know, is this like real engagement? So that's interesting that platform wide they would be testing taking out likes. But I think on like a personal account, I would maybe enjoy that a little bit more. Because it's sort of embarrassing when you post, you know, a picture of something that you really care about and you get like 4 likes on it. You're like, oh, well, that was a really pretty flower.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I feel like that's the two kind of ways everyone looks at it is like, well, like, how's it going to affect influencer marketing? And I mean, like, there are ways where we can kind of work around not being able to see likes, but like from a personal perspective, I think it's really good. And like in terms of like a conversation around mental health, I think it's a positive thing.
Yeah, totally.
I like in terms of like that where you mentioned like embarrassed if someone doesn't like your photo. Like I've noticed since they've kind of taken like the ability to view likes, like my likes have dropped for one. And I also know that's kind of a problem Instagram wide to an extent. Like I saw a post yesterday that the average engagement went from like 1.5 to 0.9% on Instagram. So it is as a whole kind of trending down. That's not necessarily for everyone, but like, so it's just interesting to see kind of now that no one can see my likes, I'm getting less likes. So I mean, I'm kind of okay with it, but yeah, I was curious if there's any other trends that you've kind of been keeping an eye on in the social space.
You know, I haven't. I'm probably not as savvy as other social media marketers.
I mean, that's not a bad thing though necessarily, right? Like you're still running an account that looks really good. It's got a lot of followers, so you're definitely onto something. But I was curious if there's any content that you're consuming right now. Like I know we talked about kind of those from a business perspective, but is there any like YouTubers or Instagrammers that you're following or anyone like that? Maybe a Gary Vee or something.
Like on a personal or professional level?
On a personal level.
Let me look through.
Yeah, of course.
I don't even know. You know, I really don't consume very much content in those spaces. I have sort of needed to take a break from those avenues for the past few months. So I'm not like in that space right now on a personal level.
I mean, that's perfectly fair. That's just kind of a cool insight that I think, like, have you enjoyed that aspect of like where you kind of like weren't on social very much and weren't consuming much content? Like, was that almost refreshing for you?
Oh, absolutely. It made me much more present in my life. Like I could go out and enjoy things and not think about, okay, let me get the right picture, let me think of the right caption, because I would totally do that. I mean, everyone does, right? Like you want to prove that you have this like cool life to everyone on social media, but to not have the ability to do that was super refreshing.
That's awesome. So do you think like moving forward, like you might do like a social media detox every couple months or something like that? Or are you just gonna be more cognizant of your usage going forward?
I think I'll have to do a detox every once in a while. So I've had my Instagram account active for the past week and I'm already exhausted just every time I look at it.
Yeah. No, I hear that. But I wanted to ask about Birdie. Can you talk about your dog?
Wait, how did you find out about Birdie?
How did I think it's on the Grovemade website.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's where I figured it out.
Yeah. She's my little rescue dog. I've had her for about 2.5 years. She's a pit mix. I found her as a stray in Portland. And she's a great little dog.
That's
She's
awesome.
the light of my life.
That's awesome. And one thing that really like kind of caught my eye when I was on the Grovemade website that I needed a little bit more context on is what is Casual Fridays?
Okay, so that was just like a fun thing that I started. I got it when I worked at SurveyMonkey. So it's just you wear a cat shirt on Fridays.
That's awesome.
There's not much more to it. You just wear a cat shirt and then you're just like, happy Casual Friday.
So does everyone in the office now have a cat shirt pretty much because of this?
I sort of forgot about it, but this was like last year. And yeah, there were a few people that participated and who actually purchased cat clothing.
That's awesome.
Feel free to take that into your life.
Yeah, I might have to.
Yeah.
I might have to. But I end every single episode with kind of the same standard set of like questions. The first one being, if you were going to dinner and you could take 3 people, it could be anybody from anywhere, dead or alive, who would you take to dinner?
Oh my gosh. I might need a couple minutes, or I'd like to come back to that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. We can skip that one. We'll come back to it. What's some of the best advice that you've ever been given?
There's a quote that, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, these aren't like social specific, so you can kind of take these from like a life perspective if you want to.
Yeah. Oh, there's one that, let's see, someone told me it was like pain plus reflection equals progress. So that was a really big one, going through like any type of setback, just keeping that in mind, that just sitting through the pain and reflecting on what happened sort of is a sure way to grow as a person.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. I agree. I think the most important part of that too is the reflection part, because I think people need to kind of look back on things in order to move forward.
Yeah.
What's one thing about you that people wouldn't expect?
Ooh, interesting. I don't know what they would expect.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, let's see. I'm a spoon carver. People
cool.
probably wouldn't expect that. I carve spoons.
Just so you'll start with like a piece of wood and you'll just carve a spoon out of it?
Yep.
Pretty self-explanatory. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
What's one thing that's so important everybody needs to know?
Sorry, my mind is totally in this like social media space. So I'm like,
I know, sorry.
You're here. No, this is okay. It's good. Something so important that everyone needs to know.
Mm-hmm.
I think just remembering to be kind. Kindness is probably one of the most important traits that we all could work on.
I completely agree. We'll come back to that other question. So you're going to dinner, you can take 3 people. It can be anybody, dead or alive. Who would you take to dinner?
Let's see. Remind me of people that exist in the world. I can't think of anyone right now.
Some people will say like Obama. Some people take it a sports show and be like LeBron James. Some people go Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or different. Yeah.
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to think. I'm really annoyed that I can't think of like an answer. I'll like email you in 2 hours and be like, oh, I got it.
Okay. Well, if you do, like I could put it in the show notes for the episode.
Okay.
The final question, I kind of like to flip the script a little bit. Like, what's one question that you would want to know the answer to about absolutely anything if you could know the answer?
Ooh, just catching me off guard with all these questions.
I know. That's what I try to do with the last couple ones.
That's good. Okay, if I could know the answer to anything, what would it be?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, probably, I don't know. Why are we here? What's the meaning of life?
Okay. I like it. I mean, some people take it in a deep route like that, and I like those answers. But I just wanted to thank you for coming on the podcast, and I wanted to give you the floor, plug everything and anything that you got like now. Where can the people find you? What do you want them to go follow or check out? Let them know.
Ooh, okay. Well, yeah, definitely follow Grovemade. We're just at Grovemade. Check us out there. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter. You can follow me if you want. I've got a personal Instagram full of dog photos. It's at Rains_babe. Yeah, and that's it.
That's
awesome. Is there more to plug that I should do?
I don't think so. I mean, that's pretty good.
Okay.
I just want to say, like, I usually try and use people's Instagrams as a point of reference when I'm doing research, and I could not find yours for the life of me. I tried so hard, and I could not find it.
Here, you can. Well, I just said it right. Rains_babe, and it is private, but maybe I should make it public.
I mean, it's up to you. Like, it's your call. Maybe if you have like, your consulting Instagram will be, you can plug that now, or you can let me know later too, and I can put that in the show notes when you kind of have your freelance stuff kind of established.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, I'm super focused on Grovemade right now, so my freelance stuff is like a back burner.
But I want to thank you once again for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And I want to thank everybody for listening to this episode. Whether you've listened the entire way through, you've only listened to bits and pieces, I really appreciate you taking the time to check this out. Guys, do me a favor, go follow Rainey, go follow Grovemade. I'll make sure everything is linked in the show notes down below. And if you'd like to follow me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @thejacobkelly. And if you'd like to follow the podcast, you can find it on Instagram at @mysocialpod and on YouTube by searching up My Social Life. Thank you once again for listening, everybody. We'll talk soon.